Hello everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak. And I want to share with you something that's very, very fringe, at least in my point of view. Something very bizarre, but something very real. As someone who've been through childhood trauma, a victim of witchcraft and things like that, everything that I explained in my recent videos, there was something that I experienced that I thought deserved some serious attention. I had flashbacks before of certain type of scary things, and of course, a lot of it has to do with the ritual abuse, which was horrific and things like that. But one thing that I could not even understand at first, which took me a while to understand, was a flashback vision that I had about 10 years ago or something like that, having to do with a secret Masonic cult that was around during the 1930s and 40s. I literally had a flashback of it, even though it wasn't even my time period. I was not even around that time. But someone that I knew that was very close to me, who was born in 1940, in the late 30s or something like that, told me about it, saw about all the horrific things he saw at the age of 6. And what he saw was exactly the same thing that I saw in my flashback. It was in the early evening. I was laying down on my recliner. I just woke up from a very weird dream, which I don't remember what it was. And then I had sleep paralysis. I just couldn't move. I was awake, but I couldn't move. And then my whole entire bedroom just changed. There was a lot of distortion, and then I saw what appeared to be people walking past right in front of me, like apparitions. And at first I thought it was a ghost. But then the whole room changed into this giant 1930s or 1940s type of photo studio. And I got very scared, extremely scared. There was a lot of people around in this giant room. And I saw people with an old-fashioned 1940s type of cameras, the one that extends out like I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. And they take pictures, and those old movie cameras back then, during that time. And a lot of the people there that were involved in it, just seeing the way they dressed, I could just tell that it was from that time period. The clothing that the women were wearing, the clothing that the men were wearing. There must have been like about 50 or 60 people there. Possibly more, I don't know. But there were high rollers. You could tell that they had money. You could just tell. And it was either a stag party or I don't know what it was. But I did witness just glimpses. I didn't see the whole thing because I was too scared to see it. It was it felt like as if I was there. I felt the emotion of the victims, and I felt the emotions of the people that were involved in it, the perpetrators. And I saw the guy with the camera recording what is known to be a snuff film. And there was a lot of bestiality and pedophilia that I saw, which I'm not going to explain or get into. It's just too much. I'm not even gonna go there. But I felt it. It was real strong, and I could just tell how much these people that were involved in it were enjoying it. And then I heard like the snapshot of those cameras that they used back then, and I saw pictures of which again having to do with those two things. It wasn't just one or the other. It was a combination of the two. And these people, the perpetrators, were actually really weird. The look in their eyes and the way they were just enjoying it was enough to make your skin crawl. And then I saw more pictures as I kept on hearing the sounds of a snapping of the cameras. And what I saw horrified me so much. Of adults and children that were actually deformed, like freaks. Black and white pictures of the 1940s. Some men, a man that appears to look like some kind of animal, and it wasn't a mask. And then children that were half human, half animal. And a lot of the things that I saw there that which caused my whole body just to shake in fear. And as a result of it, I saw a table full of pictures, and people were buying them. And there was like reels that you could put on those projectors to watch movies back in those days, and people were buying them, paying large amounts of money for this stuff. And I couldn't see the faces of the perpetrators. All I saw was hands and people, and I could just see the guy in the camera and this and that. And a lot of the people that were dressed all fancy, there was orgies, and I could just hear like the music they were playing in those days when they're having parties. And so much was going on to the point that I just couldn't take it anymore. And then that's when I snapped out of it. It's really weird, but what's even more disturbing, I can't mention exactly. I know the name of this particular place because this person that I know, and this person is not around anymore, so I can't talk to this person anymore. I just found out through investigation that this because it's supposed to be a photo studio for children, and I can't say where it is or what state, but it's not here anywhere close to me. It's somewhere far away, but it's in the U.S. And that place is still around. But of course, when I saw the picture of how it used to look like, which was a long time ago, and I saw the way the way it looks now, they did like a remodeling, and it's supposed to be a little different. From someone who traveled there and they showed me pictures. But to know that place is still around is what really gets to me. And more than once, I had this conversation. I told some of my I told certain people about it that I was very close to about my flashback. And I says, I don't know why I even had that type of flash. It was scary. It was horrifying, and it was disgusting, and all that. Everything that was you could even think of to be negative about it. But at the same time, I knew it was real. The whole thing was about maybe 5 minutes at the most, but it felt like it felt like it happened within seconds. For those of you who ever suffered flashbacks or had flashbacks of some kind of traumatic event having to do with satanic ritual abuse or any number of things, you would probably know what I'm talking about. There was a great deal of fear, but then I managed to snap out of it because of the fact that this happened during that time period, during the 1930s and 1940s. And from what I heard from the person who actually witnessed it and saw the deformed creatures and the freaks, he told me whatever, and what they had them do with the had whatever and the whole stag party thing. You could call it satanic, you could call it whatever it is. I mean, it's just downright evil. He actually confirmed all the stuff that I saw in my vision, which made it even more scary. And according to him, he says that place is still around, but it's just different. The building is different. And he said that the owner of that place during that time, out of fear of something happened, and he had to move all of his stuff and get rid of any kind of evidence, which included taking a rifle and shooting certain victims and certain of these so-called half-breeds. And the animals that were used in the films too. And they moved all their stuff, and he witnessed people being shot in the head, and they had to get rid of the bodies. He says we got to do something. The cops are gonna come by here. Someone snitched or something like that of that sort. The guy isn't around anymore. Of course, he died. He must have left it to someone else, or maybe that stuff isn't. Maybe they relocated. I don't know. I just don't know that much about it as far as what happened from that time on. All I remember was that flashback and that image, all those images, and it was just seriously overwhelming. It's really fucked up. But why would I even have a flashback or a vision of something that I wasn't even around during that time? I mean, isn't this supposed to happen when you're during your time? You remember something that happened to you in some kind of ritual or some kind of sexual abuse when you're 5, 6 years old or whatever. That makes sense to me, but having a flashback vision of of a time period that you're not even around, that I couldn't get. I could not even. If anybody knows why that happened, drop any kind of comments in the comment section. Do whatever you want. Ask questions, of course. Because I still, to this fucking day, I don't even know why I even had a vision of a time period that I wasn't even around in. Why did I have that fucking vision? I mean, I don't regret. Of course, I didn't like it. I didn't like going through that whole flashback or that vision. But at the same time, I don't necessarily regret it because at least it gave me closure in a very fucked up way. It gave me closure. And all it does is just pushes me into investigating even further. But of course, I got to do it, within reason. I can't be obsessed with it or something like that. But if anybody has any kind of suspicion of why that happened, why did I had that fucking vision? Why? I mean, it wasn't even my time period when it happened, and it was extremely real. And to make it even more unnerving, a relative of mine who passed away a long time ago, confirmed everything that I just said before I even told him everything. All I said was the name of the place, the name of this photo place for little kids. And he says, yeah, this called this and that, and then he said he saw this, he saw that, and then that place is for behind, after hours they had these little stag parties, and then when he went into detail, it was exactly the same fucking thing that I saw in my vision. Now, how fucking weird is that? Again, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you have any kind of answers to this, I would love to hear it. And if anybody can even relate to something like this, or whatever, just again, anything that would be helpful. Now the sunlight's coming in. Anything that would be very helpful, I would really like to know. So again, to all of you, take care.